Hey there and welcome. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. This is Laura Lynn with Keep Inking Up. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up in San Antonio, Texas. And today I wanted to share 4 different ways that you can add ink to your embossed layers. Yes, that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to be using the Distress Tile 3D embossing folder and Petunia Pop cardstock and ink. I love, this is one of our new ink colors for the 2024-2026 ink colors. It's a really pretty purpley pink. It's not really purple, it's not really pink, it's perfect. Petunia Pop, I just love it. So we're gonna use it today. So for the first way of adding ink, I have my, my Distress Tile 3D embossing folder right here. And what I'm going to do is bring in my Petunia Pop ink. And I am going to add ink to the side of the folder that has the Stampin' Up logo on the other side. And I'm just going to simply swipe ink across. You don't want to press too hard because I just want to be going on the edge, on the top of the embossing folder. I don't want to get ink down in the creases. You could use a brayer if you would like, if you feel more confident in that, but I'm fine with that. So you can see, hopefully you can see, I just have a really even coating of ink. Then I'm going to place my cardstock on the dry side, close it up. We don't want it to move, so I'm going to close it up, and then I'm going to take it over to my embossing, Stampin' Up embossing machine. So I'm going to use my base plate 1. I'm going to place my cardstock and folder down, and then put plate number 4 on top, and I will run that through off camera. I have it over here to the right of me. Okay, so then we'll take it out. Oh, it's dirty. And let me show you what we have. So this is the result. So hopefully you can see how that added ink, it's kind of like a letterpress look. I think I really like this one. So I'm going to put that aside, and we're going to go do the next type. So I do need to clean this off. Now normally I would just take this to the sink and run it under water. That's a really easy way to do that, but I don't have a sink in this room, so I'm going to take my Simply Chamois and just wipe off the ink. It's water-based ink, so it cleans up really easily. It will not damage your embossing folder. Now, some of our inks, especially the red ones, maybe even this Petunia Pop one, might have a tendency to stain your folders, but even if it's stained, it won't damage it. It's just, it'll be discolored. The red inks, they tend to stain things, but like I said, it won't damage it. It'll just be stained. It looks like there's a little bit of staining on there, but anyway. So last time what we did is we added ink on the opposite side of the Stampin' Up logo. So this time we're going to put ink on the other side. So the same thing. I'm going to take my ink pad and I'm going to swipe it across. Again, I don't want to be pressing. Hopefully you can see I'm just kind of lightly dragging the ink pad across the folder. I want to make sure that I get all the places covered. Now this is the distressed folder, and so there's some areas where you won't see any ink, but hopefully you can see that I've got ink pretty well even over that. So again, I'm going to get a piece of card. What do I do with all my cardstock? Here it is. Again, I'm going to take a piece of cardstock and put it on the dry side, lay it in the middle, then I'm going to fold it over. I'll get my plate number 1, stick my folder with ink and cardstock on it, plate number 4 on top, and run that through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Okay. And this is the result in doing that. So I hope you can see the difference. It's not much of a difference. One side is embossed and one side is, well, they're both, well, anyway, they're very similar, but they're a little bit different. You can see the ink is a little in different spots, kind of the opposite. Like this, you don't even really see the distressed that much. It's more even. And this one, you can see more of the distressed, the parts that did not get the ink. So those are 2 ways at the moment. So again, I need to go ahead and clean this ink off. So for the next 2 samples, actually, I am going to just emboss with no ink. Ooh, I see some ink still on there. You do need to make sure you have all the ink off. Just need to make sure that I have all of the ink off all of the edges. Try to minimize the staining that might possibly happen. But again, if it's stained, it won't hurt it. Oh gosh, there's still some more. Like I said, usually I go to the sink to do this. I don't normally use my chamois, but I think that looks clean. I think that looks good. So now we're just going to put in some blank. I'm not going to add any ink to the embossing folder this time, and I'm going to run it through my machine again, just like before. Okay, and actually I'm going to do 2 different ways on plain embossed. So I'm going to go ahead and put in another piece and emboss it while I have everything out. So this is just regular embossed compared to the 2 that are inked. Okay. All right. Now, you can pick either side that you want to do these 2 different things that we're going to do. Oh, got a little bent there. I don't think it matters. I think I like the raised side better. So this is the embossed side versus the debossed side. You can't really tell on these, but this is the embossed side and this is the debossed side. Okay, so this time I'm going to take, before I took the ink pad directly to the embossing folder, this time I'm going to take the ink pad directly to the embossed piece of paper. Now make sure that you have some scratch paper below because this will get a little bit messy. But you're just going to you're going to lightly cover it. Do not smush down your ink pad. Ooh. You can kind of see how this one went a little bit. I got a little bit too much there. I'm trying to do a light touch, but it can get out of hand. Like I said, it can be a little bit messy. We're just trying to get the top of the embossed layers, but and that it'll come out different every time. I got a little bit too much ink there, but you know, I just wanted to show you this method. This is not one of my favorite ways, but that is another method. So I'm going to set that aside. And then for this one, again, I'm going to do the embossed part. This time I'm going to add ink using a blending brush. And I prefer this way because it's a little more controlled, so you won't get these big old splotches of ink. So I'm going to take my blending brush, my pink one that I have dedicated for pinks. I'm going to load up my brush really well. I'm going to start off my paper and then go on to my cardstock. And what this does is it really kind of brings out the embossing. And then on this part, you can add as much or as little ink as you want. I do want to cover the whole thing because I'm trying to compare all 4 ink methods. So I want to do not just the edges. Sometimes I do just the edges depending on the project I'm doing. But in this case, I'm going to do the whole sheet because I want to compare all 4 different ways of adding ink to embossed layers. And I'm trying to do as even as a layer as possible. I think that looks pretty even. What do you think? I think that looks pretty well even. I'm going to go ahead and close up my ink pad before I make a huge mess. So let me move this out of the way so you can see things a little bit better. So this is adding ink with a blending brush. This one is adding ink direct to paper, swiping the ink pad across the embossed layer. Not my favorite. Then this one is the one where we inked it on the side of the embossing folder with the Stampin' Up logo. and then this one is inking on the other side opposite from the logo. So those are the 4 ways that you can add ink to your embossed layers. Which one is your favorite? Let me see how I can do this. So 1, 2, 3, or 4. Which one is your favorite? Personally, I prefer this one, I think, and so I did want to share a card sample that I made using that kind of a sample. So here it is. This is that same background, and I added some other things to the card. And this is on a layer of our basic white card base, which is what I've explained in previous videos that I like to do. Also, you'll notice on my most recent video, I showed how to add the ink to the die cut that I have here behind my present. And this is from the Attention Shoppers bundle. And then this die is from the Spotlight on Nature's dies. So anyway, I hope you learned something new. I hope that you like this way of adding ink to your embossed layers. Please tell me in the comments which one you like. I will link to all of the products that I used in the description below. Thank you again so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.